Stop. Right now, look in the mirror. The person standing there isn't your enemy. The obstacle that's holding you back isn't the world, it isn't your circumstances, it's your excuses. Every delay, every fear, every I can't comes from one place, and that place is under your control. We all want success, freedom, and strength, but too often we hand our power to excuses. Every time you say, I'll do it tomorrow, or I'm not ready, you are choosing comfort over greatness. Today, we're going to break that cycle. You will learn how to recognize, confront, and destroy your... And the journey toward greatness begins with a single undeniable truth. The moment you stop blaming others, circumstances, or bad luck for your failures, you reclaim control over your life. Too often, people look outward for reasons they aren't progressing, as if the world owes them success. They say things like, if only my boss appreciated me, or if only I had the right connections, or if only life were easier. But here's the hard truth. Every excuse you make is a decision to give your power away. Each time you point a finger, you are handing the reins of your life to someone or something else, leaving yourself helpless in the face of your own potential. Recognizing that is the first and most critical step toward breaking free. Responsibility is not a burden. It is the key to freedom. When you embrace it fully, you stop being a victim of circumstance and start being the architect of your destiny. Imagine for a moment how powerful it is to realize that your choices, not your environment, determine your outcomes. Yes, life throws challenges at you, unexpected setbacks, failures, disappointments, but these are not walls meant to trap you. They are tests designed to measure how badly you want to succeed. Owning your decisions means looking at every failure not as a condemnation, but as feedback. Every mistake becomes a lesson. Every setback becomes a stepping stone, and every obstacle becomes an opportunity to prove to yourself that you are stronger than your excuses. Too many people confuse comfort with safety, and in doing so, they create a prison of excuses. They wait for the right moment that never comes, convincing themselves that external factors hold the key to their success. But the moment you take full ownership of your life, you see that no external condition is more important than your willingness to act. You realize that your career, your relationships, your health, your goals, everything that truly matters, advances only when you choose to move forward, despite fear, doubt, or uncertainty. The power to change, to grow, to conquer has always been in your hands. Excuses are just the smoke you let cloud your vision. When you own your decisions, you also cultivate resilience. Life will throw punches, sometimes multiple in a row, and there will be times when giving up seems easier than continuing. But if you've internalized that responsibility, you don't look for someone else to blame, you look inward. You ask yourself, what can I do now? How can I adapt? How can I push through? This mindset transforms fear into action, hesitation into momentum, and setbacks into preparation for something bigger. The stronger you become in owning your choices, the weaker excuses get, until they eventually disappear entirely from your vocabulary. Every choice you make is a declaration of who you are. By owning your decisions, you send a message to yourself and the world that you are not a passive observer, waiting for life to hand you opportunity. You are a force that creates opportunity. You take command of your habits, your priorities, and your focus. You stop surrendering to laziness, distraction, or the comfort of not yet. Each time you make a conscious choice to act, even when it's difficult, you chip away at the mountain of excuses you've been carrying. And over time, those small decisions compound into extraordinary results, shaping a life defined not by what could have been, but by what you made possible. Ultimately, taking ownership is not just about success, it's about self-respect. Every excuse you avoid, every decision you own, builds confidence, integrity, and inner strength. It creates a foundation where nothing can shake you because you know that no one else controls your life, only you do. Once you embrace that fully, you stop waiting for the world to give you permission to rise. You become unstoppable, and the only enemy left is the one that used to live within you. The voice that whispers, "It's not my fault." That voice fades when you own your decisions, and in its place rises a powerful truth. I am responsible. I am capable. I am ready. That voice in your head, the one that says, you can't do this, or you're not strong enough, or maybe it's too late, is not your ally. It's a liar, and it thrives on hesitation, fear, and doubt. Every great achievement, every act of courage, every moment of breakthrough begins the moment you silence that inner voice. It's subtle, almost invisible, yet its influence is immense. It convinces you to settle, to pause, to wait for conditions that will never be perfect. It whispers excuses disguised as reasons, and if left unchecked, it will control the course of your life. The first step in conquering this enemy is to recognize it for what it is: a shadow, not reality. Your mind is a battleground, and the stakes could not be higher. Every time you entertain doubt, you allow excuses to plant seeds of stagnation. The moment you stop believing in those whispers, you shift the balance of power. Confidence, courage, and determination are not born from comfort. They are forged in the struggle against that inner critic. Each time you act despite fear, each time you move forward when your mind screams stop, you weaken that voice. You teach yourself that it cannot dictate your life. You prove to yourself that action, not hesitation, is the only path to progress. Understanding that this voice is lying is liberating. It doesn't have access to your potential, only your fear. It will tell you that failure defines you, that your dreams are unreachable, or that someone else is better suited to take your place. But failure is not defeat, it's feedback. Dreams are not impossible, they are waiting for action, and no one else can live your life for you. No one else can wield your potential. When you realize this, the voice loses its power. What once seemed insurmountable becomes a challenge to rise above, a call to prove that you are stronger, smarter, and more capable than the doubts that haunt you. Silencing that inner critic requires deliberate practice. It starts with awareness. Catch yourself when the voice begins its familiar refrain of limitation. Don't dismiss it, but also don't obey it. Acknowledge it, then redirect your focus toward action. Replace I can't with I will try, I'll learn, or I will adapt. Each choice chips away at the credibility of doubt. Over time, you train your mind to expect courage, resilience, and solutions, rather than fear and excuses. This mental discipline is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. It transforms hesitation into momentum, uncertainty into determination, and fear into fuel. Another crucial part of this battle is surrounding yourself with reinforcement, not permission. Every person you let influence your thoughts either strengthens that voice or weakens it. Seek voices that push you, challenge you, and remind you of your power. When your mind begins to waver, let external support reinforce your inner conviction. But ultimately, the victory must be internal: your strength to act, your courage to persist, your refusal to let that voice win. That internal victory is irreversible. Once you silence doubt repeatedly, action becomes instinct, courage becomes habitual, and the voice that once ruled your mind becomes irrelevant. The path forward is clear. Act even when your mind protests, move even when fear shouts, and keep going even when doubt threatens to paralyze you. Every time you silence that inner voice, you build a reservoir of confidence that excuses cannot touch. You start to see your potential, not your limitations. You realize that the only true barrier to your growth is the hesitation you choose to honor. And when you understand this, the transformation is complete. You stop being a prisoner of doubt and start becoming the master of your destiny. The inner voice that once seemed unstoppable now becomes nothing more than background noise, powerless against your unwavering will to rise. Excuses are most comfortable when life feels safe, when you stay in the warmth of familiarity, and when the risk of failure seems too high. That comfort is a trap. It whispers, stay here, you're fine. Or, don't push too hard, it might hurt. And the longer you listen, the more your potential fades into what could have been. True growth, true achievement never comes from comfort. It comes from stepping into the unknown, embracing the fear, and acting even when the path ahead is unclear. The choice between comfort and challenge is the defining choice of every life worth living. Growth demands discomfort. Every challenge you face, every fear you confront is a test of your resolve. Comfort is easy, but easy never builds strength. Imagine the athlete who trains through exhaustion, the entrepreneur who works late into the night when no one is watching, the student who studies beyond the point of fatigue. Every one of them has embraced discomfort because they understand one undeniable truth: nothing extraordinary is ever achieved from a place of ease. Excuses love comfort. They thrive on it. But when you make the conscious choice to step beyond the familiar, to endure the struggle, and to risk failure, excuses lose their power. Every time you choose action over comfort, you are building resilience. Resilience is forged in the fire of difficulty, and it becomes a shield against the excuses that once held you back. You begin to see that fear is not a reason to stop, it is a signal that you are moving towards something meaningful. Discomfort becomes the marker of progress. When you push through it, when you face what you once avoided, you discover strength you didn't know you had. Every uncomfortable step you take is a victory over the voice that says not today and over the habits that have kept you small. Choosing action over comfort also rewires your mind. It teaches your brain to seek challenge instead of avoiding it. The more often you act in spite of fear, doubt, and fatigue, the more instinctive courage becomes. You stop needing permission to rise. You stop needing a perfect moment to begin, and the world responds accordingly. Doors that once seemed closed start to open because the energy you put into moving forward, into facing the hard path, attracts opportunities. Excuses shrink when confronted with relentless, determined action. They cannot survive in the presence of consistent effort, courage, and persistence. Comfort is seductive because it feels safe, but it is deceptive. Staying in your comfort zone may protect you from temporary pain, but it also guarantees stagnation. The life you desire, whether it is success, mastery, or fulfillment, does not exist within those boundaries. You must choose to leave the familiar behind. You must embrace the moments that test you, the situations that intimidate you, and the effort that exhausts you. Every time you choose action over comfort, you reaffirm to yourself that your growth, your future, and your dreams are worth more than the fleeting ease of inaction. Action over comfort is also about momentum. One brave step leads to another. One small victory against hesitation encourages the next. When you act in spite of fear or fatigue, you begin a chain reaction that excuses cannot interrupt. That chain becomes unstoppable because it is built on repeated choices, each reinforcing the belief that you are stronger than your doubts, more capable than your excuses, and more determined than any temporary discomfort. Over time, this creates a habit of courage, a rhythm of progress, and a life defined by achievement rather than avoidance. The lesson is clear. Every time you choose comfort over challenge, you reinforce the chains that hold you back. Every time you choose action, you weaken those chains and move closer to the life you are meant to live. Growth does not wait for permission, nor does it come to those who linger in ease. It rewards those who step forward when it is hard, who embrace the struggle, and who persist even when comfort tempts them to stay behind. Your potential is waiting on the other side of discomfort, and the only way to reach it is through action, courage, and relentless refusal to let excuses define your path. Procrastination is the silent accomplice of excuses. It disguises itself as prudence, patience, or waiting for the right time, but in reality, it is nothing more than a strategy for avoidance. Every time you delay, every time you convince yourself that tomorrow will be better, you are giving your excuses power over your life. You are choosing the illusion of safety over the certainty of action. The problem is that tomorrow never arrives the way you imagine it. The perfect moment is a mirage, always retreating as you chase it, while life and opportunity pass by relentlessly. If you wait for perfection, you will wait forever. The truth is that the only time that truly exists is now. Every great accomplishment, every success story begins with a decision made in the present moment. Waiting may feel safe, but safety breeds stagnation. Action, even small action, is the force that breaks the grip of excuses and begins to shape the life you want. Start where you are, with what you have, no matter how incomplete or imperfect it feels. The act of beginning is more powerful than planning endlessly or doubting endlessly, because it sets in motion momentum that excuses cannot resist. When you confront the habit of procrastination, you also confront fear. Often, waiting is a way of avoiding discomfort, of avoiding the risk of failure, embarrassment, or challenge. But growth and success exist only where fear and resistance meet action. Each time you step forward despite hesitation, you teach yourself that fear is temporary, but inaction is permanent. The longer you wait, the more entrenched excuses become. The longer you procrastinate, the more you convince your mind that you are not ready, that you are not capable. Breaking this cycle requires courage, decisiveness, and the relentless refusal to honor delay. Procrastination is not just a personal battle. It is a thief of time, energy, and potential. Every hour spent waiting is an hour lost to progress, to learning, to experience. Life rewards the brave, not the hesitant. Momentum is built by doing, not by planning or wishing. Even the smallest step taken today compounds into remarkable change over time. Each time you act, no matter how small, you chip away at the mountain of excuses, proving to yourself that movement, however imperfect, is always more powerful than delay. Breaking the cycle of procrastination also means creating a mindset of immediacy. Train yourself to act on what matters right now rather than putting it off. Replace "I'll do it later" with "I'm doing it now." That single shift changes your relationship with time and with responsibility. It transforms hesitation into initiative and fear into fuel. The first action, no matter how minor, is the spark that ignites momentum. Each successive step becomes easier because you are no longer feeding the habit of delay, and excuses lose their voice in the presence of consistent forward motion. Procrastination also thrives on overthinking, on waiting for clarity that rarely comes. Life is inherently uncertain, and waiting for perfect clarity is a trap. The real clarity comes through action. By doing, by stepping forward, by confronting challenges head-on, you gain insight, skill, and confidence. You learn what works, what doesn't, and how far you can push yourself. Each completed task, each conquered fear, each small victory reinforces the belief that you are capable, while the habit of waiting diminishes. Remember, the path to success is paved not by perfect timing, but by relentless action. Tomorrow is a promise, today is a gift, and the only way to honor it is by taking steps immediately. Every time you act, you reclaim control from your excuses. Every time you move forward, despite hesitation, you build momentum that carries you past fear, doubt, and limitation. Procrastination dies when action becomes your default. Do not wait, do not delay, and do not let excuses dictate the pace of your life. Start now and let your courage create a future that excuses could never steal. Surrounding yourself with the right people is not just a suggestion, it is a necessity if you want to rise above excuses. The environment you choose, the voices you listen to, and the company you keep have a profound impact on your mindset and your ability to act. Excuses grow in isolation. They flourish when no one is watching, when no one is holding you accountable, when no one expects greatness from you. Left unchecked, the comfort of being unchallenged allows hesitation, fear, and doubt to take root. To break free, you must place yourself in the company of those who demand more from you. Not to pressure you unfairly, but to awaken the potential you have yet to tap. Accountability is one of the most powerful tools against excuses. When someone expects your best, when someone challenges you to follow through, it ignites a fire within. You can no longer hide behind the voice of doubt or the allure of procrastination. Every promise made, every standard set, and every expectation met reinforces your ability to act. Surrounding yourself with people who hold you to high standards forces you to rise to the occasion. Even when you feel weak or uncertain, it creates a culture of action within your life, a momentum that excuses cannot penetrate. But it's not only about accountability, it's about inspiration. The people you choose to be around are mirrors of the person you want to become. If you surround yourself with individuals who embrace courage, persistence, and excellence, their mindset will influence yours. You begin to see what is possible because it is modeled in front of you. The excuses that once felt valid now seem trivial. When you witness others confronting challenges head-on, pushing through fatigue and achieving what once seemed impossible, their success becomes proof that you too can act, endure, and triumph. On the other hand, negative influences reinforce hesitation and justification. People who complain, who make excuses, or who settle for mediocrity can unknowingly reinforce your own doubts. The energy of inaction is contagious, and it seeps into your mindset if you allow it. Choosing carefully who to let into your circle is not arrogance, it is strategy. Environment is a reflection of your potential, and by curating it intentionally, you are building an ecosystem that supports growth, courage, and relentless action. Being surrounded by accountability inspiration also teaches discipline. You learn to follow through because you know someone is watching, someone expects your best, someone trusts you to deliver. That external pressure, when embraced, turns into internal power. You no longer need to negotiate with yourself over effort or commitment. The habit of consistent action becomes ingrained because it is reinforced by a network that refuses to accept excuses. Over time, this discipline transfers to every area of your life, strengthening your resilience and reinforcing the belief that you are capable of far more than you once imagined. Ultimately, the people around you can either be a bridge to your potential or a chain that holds you back. Choosing wisely means seeking those who challenge you, inspire you, and demand growth. Let their expectations and energy become a driving force. Excuses cannot survive in an environment built on courage, accountability, and relentless pursuit of excellence. Surround yourself with action-oriented, high-expectation individuals and you will find that excuses shrink in the face of collective momentum, inspiration, and unwavering standards. The right company doesn't just encourage you to act. It transforms your mindset so profoundly that hesitation and doubt feel alien. Remember, no one achieves greatness alone. The right support, the right challenge, and the right example amplify your effort and hold your excuses to the light of accountability. You are the sum of the people you allow into your life, and by surrounding yourself with those who push you forward, you fortify your determination, sharpen your focus, and ensure that your only path is action. Excuses cannot thrive where courage, discipline, and expectation dominate. Build that environment, embrace those influences, and watch as your potential turns into unstoppable possibility. Your mind is a powerful force, and what you feed it becomes your reality. If you spend your days imagining failure, limitations, or defeat, your actions will mirror that vision. But if you take control of your thoughts and deliberately visualize success, mastery, and triumph, you create a force that propels you forward beyond excuses. Visualization is not wishful thinking, it is preparation, practice, and a declaration of intent. Every time you imagine yourself overcoming challenges, reaching goals, and thriving in adversity, you prime your mind to act with confidence, focus, and relentless determination. When you visualize victory, your mind begins to recognize the steps required to make it real. You see solutions where others see obstacles. You anticipate challenges before they arrive and develop strategies to overcome them. This clarity turns hesitation into action and doubt into conviction. Excuses lose their hold because your vision is stronger than fear. You no longer wait for circumstances to align. You align your mindset, your habits, and your actions to the picture of success you have created. What you imagine with intensity and detail becomes the blueprint for what you achieve in reality. Visualization also strengthens resilience. Life will test you with setbacks, rejection, and unexpected obstacles. When you have already seen yourself overcoming these challenges in your mind, you are better prepared to face them in reality. Every imagined victory reinforces your confidence, trains your mind to endure discomfort, and makes the inevitable difficulties of life feel like surmountable puzzles rather than insurmountable walls. By envisioning success, you are effectively rehearsing your response to adversity, so when it comes, you act decisively rather than faltering under pressure. Your imagination is a rehearsal space for courage. When you see yourself taking bold steps, confronting fear, and achieving what once seemed impossible, you create a sense of inevitability about your success. That mental rehearsal transforms into action because your mind has already practiced overcoming doubt. The inner voice that whispers, "You can't," is drowned out by the image of yourself thriving despite challenges. Visualization gives you a reference point, a mental anchor that your excuses cannot touch. It becomes a compass, guiding you through uncertainty and fear toward relentless progress. The power of visualization is amplified when paired with persistent action. Seeing your victory is not enough, you must act, but your vision fuels that action. Each step you take toward your goal is reinforced by the mental image of success you have cultivated. Action becomes purposeful, deliberate, and unstoppable because it is guided by clarity. You move with intent, not aimlessly. You overcome setbacks quickly because your mind has already rehearsed the triumph. Excuses become irrelevant when your vision is vivid, detailed, and emotionally charged. Visualization also shapes your belief system. The more clearly you see your success, the more your mind accepts it as possible. Doubt begins to crumble, fear loses its grip, and excuses fade into irrelevance. You start to act as the person you have imagined, confident, resilient, and unshakable. Over time, your vision becomes reality because your thoughts, actions, and decisions all align with it. Every step you take, every challenge you face, and every fear you overcome is guided by the picture you hold in your mind. Remember, your imagination is your secret weapon. Feed it with victory, strength, and determination. See yourself achieving your goals, conquering fear, and surpassing every limitation. Let that vision drive your every action and fuel your resolve. Excuses cannot survive in the presence of a mind that knows exactly where it is going and believes unshakably that it will arrive. Your life will always reflect the reality you rehearse in your mind. Visualize with intensity, act with courage, and nothing, no obstacle, no fear, no excuse will ever be able to stop you.